Well, we're in the peculiar position of having gotten a lot of information and in these presentations, but they haven't necessarily made it any easier to make a decision.
Two very good candidates, both highly qualified. I want to reiterate what I had said earlier, is that we appreciate their time, we appreciate all the efforts the committee put in, as well as the candidates. So, gentlemen, thank you both very much. We truly do appreciate it.
We come to a point about a vote.
So, like a motion?
Do you have any additional discussion or question?
I can't think of any questions to ask right now, but I do unfortunately feel that I'd be difficult. Give me that quarter. I mean, you're thinking of making a vote, right? Are you thinking of making a choice tonight?
Yes.
I am. I believe that the candidates have invested a lot of time and effort in this, and I would like to provide them with the clarity of a decision. I had hoped that the presentations would make that easier rather than more difficult. But I think that we
completely agree with you, Chairman. This has not made it easy in the slightest.
So if I could
Two
make just
very good candidates, Kevin, and you and your committee should be commended for that. Appreciate that.
And just to address something you asked earlier, whether I was asking any questions, I made a decision to not ask questions tonight. I have had the opportunity on multiple occasions to speak with these gentlemen and ask them questions, so I thought it would be best if I let you gentlemen ask questions tonight. And I kind of sat back and observed and got a chance to get my thoughts together a little bit more as they presented. So that was a conscious decision. With that, I would like to make a motion, if we are open to that.
Yep.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we move forward with an offer of for the new chief position to go to Lieutenant Sabatinelli. That would require, obviously, negotiations for a contract as well as successful background check being completed.
Are we allowed to discuss? Oh, no, sorry. We have to have a second first.
Second,
Discussion.
please.
Are we allowed, Kevin, to ask you to give a larger background to that motion in terms of anything that you could?
We are allowed to ask.
Yeah, so I'm happy to, having had the opportunity to see both these candidates on a couple of different occasions, as well as the other candidates. You know, frankly, it's a very hard decision from my perspective as well. I truly believe that either candidate would be very successful, truly do. My gut tells me that the direction of the recommendation or the motion I am putting forward is the best for the district.
Thanks.
I'm wrestling with this because I'm trying to figure out what is most fair to both candidates in terms of how we organize this. I would
Repeat that last part, I'm sorry.
I'm trying to figure out what is the fairest way to proceed for these candidates, and to operate on an up or down vote for one candidate leaves the second person still not necessarily offered the position. It would require a second motion. I'm thinking in terms of simply asking for a written vote. of three name of your first choice. And I will write mine down, the two of you write yours down, give them to me, and we look. Now that raises the issue of if it's a split vote.
Okay, so procedurally, I think we have a motion which has been seconded on the table.
Yeah.
And that motion has to be voted on,
Correct, unless you withdraw it.
unless I withdraw. Okay.
And so as part of the discussion of that, I'm asking you to reconsider moving forward this way and doing it by written vote.
Would that be a secret vote or what?
Yes.
This is one of the challenges of a three-person board with
Yes.
complying with OML, that we can't sidebar, we can't have had any of these conversations except here and now.
Right.
I feel very much that these presentations, both of them were excellent, I thought, in terms of, I got what I wanted to, but I didn't participate in any of the conversations prior to this. And I kind of feel like you do, which is, I feel kind of queasy making a choice. I certainly feel queasy making it now and out loud. That said, I mean, Chief's got to drive back to New Hampshire and he'd probably like to know what's going on. So I get that. I take your point, but I feel like, you know, the cat's out of the bag. We didn't have a chance to talk about what the mechanics would be of making this decision, except we put it in the agenda, and we can't talk about that in advance. So we all came here, I think, with slightly different expectations around what would happen, and so forth. That's the only, I'm not on a rant. I'm just saying that it puts us in a, and I think the two candidates in a odd. I'm respectful of how odd it must feel.
And I've had a couple of consultations with lawyers trying to find out within OML what we are and aren't allowed to do. And you pretty succinctly described our position. We're in the hot seat and we do it in the open.
So we have a motion and we have a vote. We're still in discussion. I guess what I would say is my feeling right now, and you know, we haven't had a chance to, well, I've already said what I said. I guess I would have to bow to Commissioner Conway on this, just because it's a pick-em. And I feel like you said, Kevin, both of you guys would be very successful and are great candidates. I guess I would have to just follow Kevin's recommendation. While you're thinking, Chairman, I will tell you that I did my own, when I first saw the collection of applications, I did my own review of you. I read everything everyone wrote, and I happened to rate both of you equal. Here's how I do it. I will share it with you. I think you're owed this. I created these categories. I said, do these applications meet skill qualifications? And you know, we were at the time, we were still undecided. We hadn't had a chance to talk about should the chief be a paramedic. And so you both are not, as I understand it. So, okay, there's a tie there. And that's not a knock. It's just a thing. And then I looked at, well, are there management qualifications that I can infer by the resume and the, am I still unmuted, Lisa? Okay. From the applications, the background and so forth. And I thought you both, despite the fact, Chief, that you are currently serving as chief in a much larger organization, I felt that on balance, you both had, for different reasons, equal management qualifications. I'm not going to tell you numbers, but, and then I looked at things like, how do I feel about the application in terms of its quality? I thought you both wrote extraordinarily, I mean, certainly just, on an absolute scale, but on a relative scale, really great letters. And I really felt your aspirations come through. So that's to your credit. And then I looked at culture fit, and I thought that, calm, okay, and your Cape back, it's literally a tie in my, and I had no idea that you would end up being the two candidates here tonight. Okay. I mean, you probably know, you have the advantage of potentially knowing everyone that's sitting here. Yeah. And Chief, that's not a, a knock. It's just, it is what it is.
Well, let me just add, I also reviewed all the applications quite thoroughly long before the screening committee was in operation. And both of you landed in my top 4. So in that sense, I'm very happy to see you both here. Feel like at least I was not in a psychotic state when I read those things.
Let me add, I had you tied, but not like in the also rans, okay?
One other factor that I weighed in consideration was the transition from being staff to administration. And I will say that in that regard, I was struck by the fact that one candidate has had significantly more years in that role. Not in terms of breadth of experience, but kind of the political position of being administration versus staff. And
does that change or in any way tip it in one way for you?
I wish it made a dramatic difference because it would make my vote easier to make. But I did consider it a variable that I wanted to put in front of the two of you for your own thinking as well.
I stand by what I said before, which is I felt they both the candidates had, for me, knowing that there would be much more investigation and so forth through the process, I felt that what I could see for different reasons, and I take your point, but they equally, I felt comfortable in either of these two candidates, but at the time I was just like, it was one of 25 or 28, could not only do the job, but I felt that it would exceed expectations, in my view, based on all the other things that I was trying to imagine what I could see in the applications, that the way I ranked it, it was different than you would, but I felt it was equivalent.
Well, I do not expect the ceiling to open and divine light inspire me. So we have a motion before us. I think we need to take a vote. Would you repeat the motion?
I make a motion that we move forward with Lieutenant Sabatinelli, pronunciation wrong, I understand, and offer him the chief's position pending successful negotiation, contract negotiations, and background check.
And that has been seconded. Time for a vote. Adam?
I said, I'm not going first. My last name
All those in
begins.
favor?
Then we'll do it alphabetically, Kevin.
All those, yes, Conley in favor.
Pisano, no.
I didn't hear. That's because.
I was in favor of moving forward with my motion, with the motion.
Chairman, what did you say?
I said I was not in favor.
I know. What are the ramifications of not making a decision tonight?
Well, we send two very qualified candidates home, probably both disappointed, burdened. Their candidacy is public information now.
And I would ask, the question I would ask with regard to that, as open meeting laws do not allow us to meet other than in a public setting, as we're having now, having a conversation. What do we think we will glean, or what information do we think will become apparent over the next week, day, 24 month? That's exactly the point. That's the process. The process of open meeting law is what it is. We had a committee that went out and did the search, looked at all the candidates, came back with two recommendations of qualified people. And I have put into nomination the person who I think is best suited for the position.
With great thanks for both of you and your candidacies. Well, thank you. I stated earlier that my feeling was such that being on was difficult for me to say anything other than you're both great. I'm going to have to. I said I was going to follow Kevin's lead. I'm going to do that now, and I'm going to vote yes.
Motion carries. Want to thank you both very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, so yes, can we do a quick break? I agree. I'm going to mute.
We still have a long agenda that we will resume in a minute to go through the normal business of this meeting. I'm cognizant of the time. We will try to be expeditious about it as soon as our missing commissioner returns. We have on the agenda under new business a vote that I think we just need to make right away to get underway. And that is a vote on the representatives for the contract negotiations. I'm addressing under new business.
Yes, sir.
Vote for representatives to go into contract negotiations with our chosen candidate.
And I would like to add into that. I would like to be involved with that, having negotiated the last contract with the union, as well as being involved with this conversation with the future chief.
I have not had a chance to be involved in the past two negotiations, and nor with Chief Rude's hiring. I would very much like to be involved as well.
All right, I will step out of that then and would move that Commissioners Conley and Zace serve with a member to be appointed from the Prudential Committee as representatives for contract negotiations.
Second.
In favor, Pisano?
Zace?
Done?
And as an FYI to the committee, in my view, excuse me, as an FYI, I have asked the attorneys to take a look at the current contract and to do any updates they think are appropriate, and we'll have that back shortly.
Good, so you will have a starting position
Correct.
for that. Back to the more mundane business of the meeting. We have been provided with copies of transcripts for two previous meetings from December, the regular monthly meeting and the interim meeting that was held for the contract negotiation appointment of the interim chief. Have you both had a chance to review those?
Yes?
Yes. Yes. Everybody has any issues or questions?
No.
Move we approve them as presented.
The only issue I have, not have the exact, which one of the two doesn't have my name spelled. So that's the issue I have.
All right, let's get on the spelling police. And
That's all. That's the only issue.
Vote to accept them as presented.
Accept as amended.
Conley.
Pisano,
Zace?
done. Chief, the monthly report.
You guys have a copy. I'll just read from top to bottom, 64 total responses for that.
I need to get that right the first time. 69 total responses, 44 medicals, 2 hazardous conditions, 23 service calls, good intent, false calls. I think you guys got a copy of this.
Yep.
Under administration, there's an interim chief. Talk about that if you'd like. Training, nothing to report. Per EMS reports online. As far as personnel go, the gentleman, the firefighter out on IOD, still out on IOD, has reported to me making good progress with an anticipated February return date.
Really?
Correct.
Excellent news.
So that's good news. Apparently there is, as it stands right now, there is no surgery in the future. So that was what was reported to me. As far as apparatus goes, you know,
Wait, in personnel, I want to interrupt you. We have gotten from the district's attorney, that's our district's attorney, not the DA, an employment agreement between the Cotuit Fire District and the interim fire chief This is simply a formality for it. I'm going to ask that we each sign it and that the chief sign it so it can be forwarded to Prudential Committee.
I don't know. Should I read this first?
Thank you. Chief, proceed. Apparatus.
And just to be clear, the responses were for the month of December. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the damage to the ambulance that actually happened. It's more current. So 262, the ambulance was damaged in a motor vehicle crash just before Christmas. Those repairs have been completed after, because we had the loan, or after the ambulance, the damage repairs were completed. It was sent to SAV, which is a truck company in Wareham. Had some routine maintenance done to it, including fixing regular routine maintenance, as you would expect. They also addressed 2 air leaks in the system. In the air system, there is a persistent oxygen leak that they were not able to tackle. It's not uncommon for general truck contractors to not want to tackle an oxygen system. So that has not been repaired. I have a phone call in today to a representative from Specialty Vehicles, which is the dealer, to make arrangements to have the oxygen system fixed. It's not an earth-shattering problem, but it's something that needs to be addressed. I had not heard back from him by close of business today. There's a potential they might even be able to fix it on site, but I'm not sure. As I said, I have not heard back from him. The engine 263 had an air can issue with an air leak that went to Sandwich today to get repaired. It was initially, hopefully, going to be just a short repair. Was not done by the end of the day. Hope to have that back for tomorrow. That air leak will be fixed. As far as facilities go, there was a long plan for interior, exterior doors. They'll be replaced. The doors are being delivered late this week, and they'll be installed early next week. Let me see if I can find my calendar. Doors are being delivered Saturday, the 22nd, and they're scheduled to be installed on the 25th. That's it. That's all I have.
Have we made any progress on the interior paint? I haven't been in a station in a while.
No.
Have we been able to get any other bids?
There was another contractor that had gone in that has not responded yet, and I will follow up on that.
Thank you very much. Okay, under old business, policy advisory.
There is no update, as there has been no meeting. I will go to the next item. There is no update because there has been no further, entire committee.
Good. And Commissioner Conley, the firefighter physical fitness committee update.
There is no update, as we have not met with the union to finalize that conversation.
Do we have?
We would like to do that, though, very much so.
Good. Right, moving to new business. We're in the process of preparing a draft of the annual report to be submitted to the clerk. I have disseminated that will not, the draft won't appear in the minutes of this meeting. We will try to get it finalized and approved at our next meeting and get it to the clerk. Similarly with a draft budget, this is a very preliminary model, and much of it was, I had hoped we would have a candidate hired to begin work with it, but Prudential wants the presentation this coming Monday of a preliminary budget. So we're trying to get a finalized draft of that. Looking to each of you for any other comments or inputs about the.
think we've heard some really good ideas tonight. Can I get you those comments via, is that allowed, by email?
Yeah, because it's not deliberation.
Yeah, okay, so I'll get you comments by email in advance of your presentation,
Good.
okay?
Yep. I don't have other business. We have one more opportunity for public comment. Excuse me.
Business. I am off Cape for the month of February. So for our February meeting, I will have to join remote.
Good. Okay. Appreciate the heads up. Any public comment?
Hold that thought if I may. So you are you're off Cape for the month of February? Okay, so we're going to be negotiating a contract.
So we will have to do that.
Via Zoom? Okay.
I will make Zoom or whatever we choose.
Yeah. Okay. As long as you're available, thank you.
Was there any other public comment or question? Okay, very good. We have included the option of executive session purpose 2 to conduct strategy for the negotiations for that contract. I would like to hold a brief executive session at the end here. You two have been appointed to take it forward, but I would like just the opportunity to have a brief conversation before the two of you meet with representative of Prudential Committee and take that to the next step. So I would make a motion that we go into executive session for purpose 2 to conduct strategy session in preparation for negotiation with non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel. The board will not return to open session.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. In favor, Pizzano?
Conley?
Zace?
With that, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much. Thank you.